Hello, everyone. I'm Carla Aragon, and I am the author of this book. It's a children's book called Dance of the Eggshells by Los Cascarones. And with me today is Kennedy and Theo, and thank you so much for being with me here today. So I want to tell you about a tradition that I grew up with. And do you know what a tradition is?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's like a holiday. I don't
It-
even know what it is. I've never heard of it.
Okay, a tradition is something that you do during the holidays. If you put out your stockings on, for Santa Claus, that's a tradition. If you wake up in the morning, and you have gifts from Santa Claus and you give him a little bit of coffee or hot chocolate and a cookie, that's a tradition. So at Halloween, if you go trick-or-treating, that's a tradition. And I'm going to tell you about a tradition that I grew up with that is done during Easter. And it's called the Baile de los Cascarones. And it's a real fun tradition. This book is all about it. And just to prove that I grew up with this, there's a picture of me when I was a little girl. And I was about Kennedy's age. I was maybe about 8 years old right there. And there I am with my cascarones. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Okay, are you guys ready? Okay. So, this is the first part. There are white eggs, right? Okay, scrambled eggs, cracked eggs, even rotten eggs. Pew.
P.U.
P.U. Goofy, wobbly eggs have also dressed up in their Easter best. But for little Libby Montoya, the most prized eggs of all are cascarones, confetti-filled eggshells. Libby learned to value them as if they were made of gold. When these little treasures break open, memories spill forth of a joy-filled tradition passed on by her grandma Socorro. Okay, so the first part is called No Ordinary Egg. Libby watched the jackrabbits under the small pinon trees as her mother drove up to her grandparents' farm. In a garden patch next to the house, tulips had started to poke their heads out of the earth, stretching towards the sunlight. Libby loved spring, just like we're having right now. And for the first time, she and her big brother, J.D., were spending their school break with her abuelita and abuelito in New Mexico. Grandma Socorro and Grandpa Art lived in an adobe house on a hillside overlooking Santa Fe. Life here was much different than in the city. So you see, there's Grandma Socorro right there, and there's Libby. Okay. Well, the car came to a stop in front of the mud porch decorated with ristras, these beautiful little red chili decorations.
I've seen those.
Yes, there's strands of red chili peppers dangling from the vigas. Libby and J.D. ran to their grandparents. Hola, Grandma. Hola, Grandpa, Libby said. Ay, como han crecido. How much you have grown, said Grandma Socorro. Libby was tall for her age, just like her brother J.D., but that is where the similarities ended. Libby was fair with short curly hair, and she loved to chat. Well, freckled-faced J.D. had moppy straight hair, and he thought he was pretty cool when he played his video games and hung out with his friends. He did not like it when Libby tried to tag along because he thought she was a pest. Well, after the children unpacked, Libby's mother got ready to leave. She said to Grandma and Grandpa, Que Dios les bendiga. God bless you. I'll see you at the Baile de los Cascarones, the dance of eggshells. Libby's mom then turned to her children and said, Don't forget what I told you. Try to help your grandparents and don't fight. Okay. Libby was embarrassed. She pulled her grandma aside and told her about a fight she had with J.D. Grandma, J.D. was being mean to me. Yeah, he wouldn't let me play with his brand new video game. And then she confessed. You know what, Grandma? When he wasn't looking, I took it. And then I broke it. Yikes.
Broke what?
The video game. Oh my gosh, that wasn't very nice of her.
No.
So Grandma Socorro told her, well, sometimes Brothers and sisters don't get along. They get on each other's nerves. But one of these days, you'll become friends. Déjalo, leave his things alone. She then called JD over and said, let's all go to the chicken to collect eggs. And here's the chicken coop.
That's absolutely huge.
It is. It's a big chicken coop.
For only 2 chickens.
Well, there are more inside because there's a bunch of eggs there. And when they got there, Grandma Socorro picked up an egg from a hen's nest,
Well, I
just
guess
like
there's
this.
not 2 chickens, there's 1 in there.
Yeah. And then she said, you know what? Look at this. This is no ordinary egg. It's more valuable than a golden egg, or even a video game for that matter. And then this will be one of the many cascarones that we will use for the Baile de los Cascarones, the dance of the eggshells. It's a rich tradition that I hope that you will cherish forever. Well, Libby and JD looked at each other and they kind of rolled their eyes and they said, JD said, how could a measly egg be worth anything? Eggs are just for eating. Said, my friends don't care about cascarones. Thanks to you, Libby, I haven't played with my friends since you broke my video game. Okay, so you can see them at the chicken coop, right? Okay. Well, Grandma Socorro was trying to teach them a lesson, so she winked at them, right? And she asked them to follow her into the kitchen. She handed aprons to Libby and JD. Look at JD's, his apron says, kiss the cook. And then he gave them each an egg and said, this isn't as easy as it looks. So then she showed him how to do it. And I'm going to...
He looks mad.
He is not happy at all, but I'm going to show you what they did to do the eggs, okay?
He's not happy because he broke his video game. And it's not a big deal. It's just a video game.
It's just a video game, but he was a little upset about it. So Grandma was trying to teach him a lesson, and actually it's about this tradition. So she said, okay, what you do, and it's not as easy as it looks, and when you do this, you do it at home with your parents, okay?
Right.
So she told him, what you do is you poke a hole on the top, tap, 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 tap. Let me see, tap, 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 tap. Okay, look at that. Okay, see the hole?
It looks like syrup.
Well, wait till you see what's going to happen. Then you tap a hole on the bottom, tap, 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 tap. And I have to tell you, I mean, it's not as easy as it looks because you've got to be very careful. It's very, very delicate. So then...
Like 20 years old.
Well, this egg isn't 20 years old, but this tradition is more than 20 years old. So what you do, and I'm showing you how to make the cascarones. So what you do is you blow on the top of this hole, and guess what happens?
Whoa.
Did you see what happened?
Yeah.
Wow, the egg yolk just plopped out.
That was awesome.
Yes. So Grandma Socorro told Libby and JD, this is how you make the cascarones. And what you have to do next is you have to wash them out with cold water, and they have to be cold water. And then you let them dry, and then you add confetti in that little hole that we made, okay?
Cool.
So you said it already, Theo. JD was not very happy. He didn't want to be in the kitchen. He said, I think Grandpa Art needs help feeding the chickens. I better take him some more corn. So he just tore off his apron and he left the room. Okay, so you can see how they're making all of these eggs, okay? Okay, Libby wasted no time in carefully filling the delicate eggshells with confetti and decorating them with every color of the rainbow. She pasted some tissue paper over the larger hole in the cascarones, just like the one right here, to keep the paper dots from leaking out. And as Libby decorated the eggshell, colored markers, and tissue, she asked Grandma, Grandma, why do they hold the Baile de Cascarones a week after Easter? Well, Grandma Socorro said, Spanish families in northern New Mexico were faithful in observing Lent. She said, we don't eat meat on Fridays now, but in the old days, they didn't eat meat for the entire 40 days. That's a long time if you're not a vegetarian. So
I'm not vegetarian.
I know. So that's a long time. So instead of eating meat with tacos, I know, what would you do without tacos? So instead of meat, they would eat a lot of egg dishes. And that's how they collected so many eggshells. And also back then, you couldn't dance during Lent. They were pretty strict back then. So
Tacos.
I know.
Got feels.
Well, what happened is that people had to be so nice and they couldn't do anything wrong. When Easter came around, they were ready to celebrate. So, okay, see, they're making lots of cascarones, just like the ones that we have up here, okay? The dance. Soon the big day arrived. Grandma Socorro gave Libby a beautiful fiesta dress that Libby's mother, Jordan, had worn. The white blouse had red pom-poms, then dainty ruffles on the sleeves, just like this. The red skirt had layers of fluffy petticoats. And Libby exclaimed, "This is perfect for twirling around, just like this." And I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you something, okay? Grandma Socorro gave JD a green fiesta shirt with conchas or buttons. "JD, you can wear your jeans, but instead of a belt," she said, "put on this golden sash."
He looks happy now.
He does look happy. They kind of were happy. I'll stand up in just a bit. Libby's mother and father arrived in Santa Fe, and Libby was so excited to see her parents and to share what she had learned about the Baile de Cascarones. So she told them as they were driving to the dance, "Grandma says if you want to dance with somebody, what you do is you break cascaron over somebody's head. Okay, you don't hit them on the head, but over their head. That's the proper way." And Grandpa Art was laughing. There he is laughing.
Oh my God, there's so many people.
As a member of La Sociedad Folclórica, Grandma was very, very proper. So you see this, right? Okay. Well, Libby brought her Easter basket and filled it with cascarones she bought from La Sociedad Folclórica. One cascaron had a clown face, and another had a delicate flower design. Several had just been dipped in Easter dyes of pink, blue, green, and yellow. As Libby inspected them all, she felt oh goodness, a whack right on top of her head. What's going on? Well, guess what? Grandpa Art had surprised her by cracking one of those cascarones on her head. He chuckled and he said, "Let's dance, Princesa. Remember what the tradition is. If you want to dance with somebody, you crack a cascaron over their head." So I'm going to get up and I'm going to show you one dance, okay? And it's pretty easy. Oh, I hope I'm not messing up the microphone here. So he was dancing a polka. And have you guys ever heard of a polka?
Never.
Okay, it's pretty easy to do. You go 1, 2, 3, hop, 1, 2, 3, hop, 1, 2, 3, hop, 1, 2, 3, hop. So that's what Grandpa Art was doing with Libby. He was dancing, and Grandpa Art was a fantastic dancer. He twirled her around until she got dizzy, and when the music ended, well, she was led into the waiting arms of her father. Okay, so Libby was dancing, right? Okay, while she was dancing, you know what happened? JD was busy too. He bought a whole carton of cascarones, and he was bombing each of his cousins on the head. First Marisol, then Elena, then he went after Miranda, Brittany, Carlos, and Juan.
And then his sister.
Yes, JD had no intention of dancing. He just wanted to play a game of smash and dash. Okay.
Sounds like a cool game.
Well, look at all the dancing right here. See how they're breaking cascarones over somebody's head?
Yeah.
And again, the tradition is that if you want to dance with somebody, you break a cascaron over their head. Okay? There's Grandpa Art and there's Libby dancing.
I am so dirty.
Yes. You end up having lots of confetti all over. Okay, so the broom dance. Suddenly, A.J. Anaya, the bastonero, or master of ceremonies, told the crowd to pick apart for El Baile de la Escoba. Do you know what escoba is?
Nope. Nope. Sounds
Okay,
like
escoba,
something in Spanish.
it is in Spanish. Escoba means broom in Spanish. So it's the broom dance. Libby's cousin Esteban cracked a cascaron on her head, okay, and said, "Come on, Libby, this is a really fun dance." So everybody in the room scrambled to be on the dance floor. And now this is an important dance to tell you about. Men lined up on one side of the room and men lined up on the other side of the room, and they faced each other, okay? So everybody had a partner, and they had a path right in between. Well, JD, remember, he wasn't into dancing. He hid underneath a table. Look what he says, "I don't want to dance." But the bastonero, the MC, said, "Young man, you come here." And he handed him the broom. Here's my broom. You can see the little broom right here. And he said, "Sorry, amigo, you're the only one without a partner. You're stuck dancing with the broom." So everybody started laughing. Well, yeah, the bastonero explained the broom dance. It's a little bit like musical chairs, and you guys have played musical chairs. When I blow the whistle, okay, everybody stops dancing, and they have to find their partner right away, okay? And you have to, they told JD, since he was dancing with the broom, when he heard the whistle, he had to drop the broom and then scramble to find a partner. Okay, so everybody said, "Okay, we understand the dance now." So the bastonero said, "Okay, vámonos, let's go." The violins and the guitars started. The dancers began to clap to the beat of the music. Grandma Socorro prodded him. "Ándale, mi hijo. Come on, son, take the broom and dance. Sí se puede." He was frozen with fear. He didn't even want to move. Well,
Was he shaking?
he was shaking. And then all of a sudden he said, "You know what? I think I can do this." So at first he started kind of brushing the broom off the floor and some of the confetti. And then he started to have a little bit of fun. He thought, "I'm going to do some of my Grandpa Art's polka moves." So he was dancing polka with the broom. So you see where there's men on one side and women on the other. And there's JD. He doesn't have a partner, so he's dancing with the broom up and down. Well, then all of a sudden, what is he supposed to do when he hears a whistle? Whistle blew, and JD, all of a sudden, he tripped over the broom, and panic set in. People were running across the room to find their partner, or the first person they could touch. JD did drop the broom, but he was frozen with fear again. He had this panic. He didn't know what to do.
He panicked all over his face.
And you know what? If he got stuck with the broom again, he'd have to dance with it, right? So Libby extended her hand and she said, "JD, hurry, grab my hand." JD lunged at Libby and he put his arms around her. "You, Libby," he said. "You're an angel." He took her hand and they moved side to side, trying to keep step with the rhythm of the music. Okay. Well, as soon as everyone got a partner, they looked around to see who had been shut out. Libby's cousin, Esteban, didn't have a partner. He just shrugged his shoulders and he picked up the broom and he started dancing with the broom. And everybody went back to their sides and they did this all over again. It was such a fun dance.
Dancing with the broom?
Dancing with the broom.
It says no more eggs.
No more eggs. Okay, this is the end of the story. So after the broom dance was done, there were all kinds of other dances to learn. Libby went through the whole basket of cascarones as she danced La Cuna. There's a full dance where you connect hands and you form like a little cradle and you dance like that. And that's why it's called La Cuna, the cradle. They had El Valse de los Baños, which is a handkerchief dance. You have handkerchiefs with two partners and you go around in circles. It's a really cool dance. And then they did the Varsoviana. You've heard of that one. It's put your little foot, put your little foot, put your little foot right there. That's how you dance a Varsoviana. And then there's the Raspa. And you guys have heard of the Raspa before, I'm sure. It goes, you haven't? Okay. It goes, it's a Mexican shuffle. It's da-dun, 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 da-da-da-da-dun, da-dun, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-dun, and then you hook arms and it's da-da-da-da-da-da-dun, dun, da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun. So that's what they dance. They dance La Raspa. And judging from all the confetti and eggshells on her hair and clothes, Libby was the most popular of the evening. And when the dance ended, Libby realized she didn't have a single egg in her basket. It was empty. She glanced down and she says, I cracked all my cascarones and I forgot to save one as a souvenir. Well, J.D. hesitated and he said, okay. He saw the disappointment on his sister's face and he said, you know what? I was going to save this one because I was going to crack it on Elena, but you know, Libby, I'll give it to you. You know, what a nice brother. He was going to give her an egg so that she could have a souvenir. I want to come back. And he hugged his sister and then he ran towards his parents. I don't think they were fighting anymore. Do you? No. Okay. So, yeah, buy a new video game. Well, Libby was surprised by her brother's kindness, and as she left the dance hall, she grabbed her abuela's hand and whispered, Grandma, you're right about J.D. I think we're going to be good friends. Later that evening, as Libby was ready for bed, she gazed out the window at the twinkling stars over Santa Fe. And as she brushed her hair, just like that and just like that, confetti just fluttered to the floor, and she smiled, savoring the memories of this magical.
Brushed her shoulder like that.
Yeah, brushed the shoulder. But she was savoring this magical tradition, and now it was her tradition, the baile de los cascarones. And that's it. Thank you so much.